Hello, it is Sky. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad to see you today. So, I actually had no intention at all of posting a video today or even recording a video today. But here we are. Spirit said, "Yeah, you've got some work to do. You've got a message. You've got a message to give." And that's exactly the channeling I got today was stop what you're doing and give this message because someone needs to hear this. Um, and I need to hear this too. So it's a collective message for us all, right? So I decided to pull some oracle. I actually pulled from my fairies oracle deck. I really love this deck. With the Libra moon happening, and honestly, just a lot of intense energy on the planet lately. If you keep up with anything spiritually, or watch anybody spiritually, and keep up on like YouTube and podcasts, things like that, there is a lot of energy on the planet right now. Take with that what you will, but it's very intense energy. I've been feeling like this past year, honestly, a lot of my emotions have been reflected to me outwardly and very strongly, very much potent, very much cannot escape it, okay? I'm sure you guys have been feeling that way as well. So if you have, just know you're not alone. It is very much in tune with what is happening with the world right now, and with the moon cycle and everything. And like I said, we are in a Libra moon recently, as of April 1st, which was called the pink moon. And that was all about fostering different connections, relationships. It was very much really heavily focused on relationships, okay? And creating that harmony, creating that balance. Um, so yeah, I've been definitely going through a lot of things emotionally, mentally, and it's been a little bit exhausting for me personally. I feel like I have been my emotions have been very heightened and very sensitive. I'm also on my shark week, so adding that into there, it's a lot. It's very intense. So I've been really reflecting about my emotions, why I feel the way that I feel about things, and I like to make sure I don't react off of emotions. And sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes we do. We're only human beings. We make mistakes. And it's only human to have those emotions. And I feel like there's a lot of shame in certain emotions. Everyone wants to achieve happiness. Everyone wants to feel happiness. Everyone wants to feel excited. Everyone wants to feel successful. Everyone wants to feel abundant. But there's a huge shame, guilt around feeling shame, feeling guilt, feeling sad, feeling angry. For me, I have a lot of internal wounds and just traumas with expressing my anger. Because it feels like, a lot of the time you're not heard unless you're being upset. You're not heard unless you're crying. You're not heard unless you're coming off passive aggressive. You're not being heard unless you're feeling that really intense emotion. But that's not the case. We don't need to feel that way. And that's where we learn and we grow. And that's just kind of something that I am working on now, is trying to get my point across, trying to set boundaries without hurting. We're allowed to set boundaries, but there's something so guilty feeling, there's something so shameful feeling about stepping up for yourself, speaking up for yourself. There's such a big guilt around that. And I don't know if a lot of you guys can relate. I'm sure a lot of you can, but um, those childhood wounds, that'll do it to you. That'll do it to you. Um, no, but in all seriousness, there's just something so shameful about choosing yourself, you know? And that's something that I have definitely been working on. And then there's a balance that comes with it. Setting your boundaries but not being overstepping. Finding that middle ground of, okay, well, this is the respect I deserve. I deserve to feel comfortable. And of course, as always, there has to be compromise with things. There always has to be compromise. There has to be a middle ground. And with that, I actually pulled this card out of my deck, crying out. And let me just make sure you guys can see that. So immediately when I pulled this card, I thought of it as my soul. My soul is crying out to be heard, to be seen. I'm reaching for the light. I want to find that light, but with that comes speaking up, you know, being loud, being a voice, being your own advocate. You have to be your number one advocate because no one else is going to do it for you. No one's going to love you as much as you love yourself. No one's going to be your biggest supporter other than you. You have to be your biggest supporter. So with crying out, I really just see that with, letting these negative emotions come to the forefront and crying out, quite literally, crying out, letting these emotions see the light of day because it's okay. It's okay to feel these things, right? It's just how we convey these and, if we're not hurting people in the process, obviously, but it's okay to feel these emotions. Negative emotions are allowed. And we need to train our brain to remember that is that we're not always going to be positive. That's not possible. It's just not tangible. As a human being, we do not constantly feel happy, joyful all the time. You know, it's so natural to have these emotions because we learn from them, we grow from them. And really tying into that, I pulled the desire card out of this deck. And this card is really, really beautiful. It's like a siren woman holding her hand to her throat, and you can see that she's like singing out loud, she's speaking. And that really is your soul. Once again, it's you, your soul, your higher self, just desiring to be heard, to be seen. Your wants and your needs are, they have the desire to be heard. It's just, this card is just so like straight up to me. Like, there really is no explanation for this one. It's just so obvious, in my opinion. We all desire to be heard, to be felt, to be loved. And to be loved is to be heard, you know? Without that, without being heard, where is the love? And, with desire is speaking up for yourself, you know? Speaking up for yourself for your desires. What do you desire? What do you want? What do you need? What are your boundaries? And to me, it's almost like her throat chakra is like a little blocked. That's kind of the energy that it's giving me. Because your throat chakra would be right here. And she's trying to speak up. She's trying to call out. And maybe you're having some issues speaking up for yourself, defending yourself, you know? So I feel like that really, really plays into that card really, really well. Um, but you just need to speak up. You need to set your boundaries. You are so important. You deserve to take up space. You deserve to feel comfortable. And you're allowed to have triggers. You're allowed to feel differently than other people. And that's where that desire to speak up comes from. That blocked throat chakra. You need to work on that. Your throat chakra is a little blocked, okay? Just saying. Just saying. This card clocks it. It really does. So maybe do some throat chakra healing. I love me some soda light a blue candle, really speak your intentions into it. What do you want? You want to communicate better. I want to set boundaries better. Um, that'd be a really, really good way to open up that throat chakra a little bit and help you speak up for yourself. And kind of warping this all together is this card. I really, really love this card. Feel the feels. Okay, and it's three people dancing around. They kind of have food around the fire pit too, enjoying themselves, celebrating, celebrating your feelings because we're allowed to do that. We can celebrate life, and that's a part of life is feeling. Life would be so crazy if we couldn't feel things, right? We wouldn't be human. That is one thing about humans is one of our emotions that makes us who we are, that makes us the entity that we are. And with Feel the Feels, as simple as it is, just feel the feels. Like I was saying earlier, you're allowed to feel the way that you feel. You're allowed to feel the emotions that you feel, and you are allowed to feel negative emotions as well. It's just all about how you convey them and how you speak up about it. We need to speak up in mature ways and, kind of find middle ground sometimes, but you're allowed to have your opinion and you're allowed to speak up, and you're allowed to feel the feels. You need to feel the feels. Feel them and acknowledge them, because when you don't acknowledge the feels, you bottle it all up, right? And what happens when we bottle it up? Eventually, if you bottle something up and it's overflowing, it's going to explode, right? It's going to explode. So, really coming together, talking about it with your friends, or really just expressing what you need to express about it. And to me, this card, they're celebrating. Look, they're under the moon. They have yummy food around them. There's a campfire going. They're dancing and they're feeling the feels, exactly what they feel in that moment. They're expressing it. They're being open. They're being honest. They're being so true to themselves. And that's what you need to do. You need to be open. You need to be honest. You need to be true. To me, this card is really just celebrating the feels, which I feel like I was talking about earlier, there's kind of that shame, there's kind of that guilt with those negative emotions. But what if we celebrated those emotions as well too? Celebrate the fact that we feel those things. We learn so many different things from those negative emotions, and we learn how to navigate life so differently. Because if we didn't have anger, we didn't have guilt, we didn't have shame, we didn't have sadness, we didn't have envy, we wouldn't learn different things about ourselves. So I think it's really, really important to have that balance of all these different emotions. Obviously, we don't want to feel sad, we don't want to feel angry, but really, really take it as a learning point and a reflection. And I think that's what's really, really important in this human experience, is to learn from all of these things. So that was actually all the cards I have for today. This was super spontaneous for me. I totally was not expecting to do a card pull today or even record a YouTube video. So if you sat through the whole entire thing, I hope this really, really connected to you, and I hope this really resonated with you. And I hope that I could help maybe clarify some heavy emotions right now, because that's very much in tune with what's happening in the world right now. So you are not alone, and I'm definitely going to take this reading today and take it to my soul and take it to my heart and really, really sit with it. So I invite you to do the same as well. And I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day, night, morning, whatever it is for you, whatever time you're watching. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.